What do you think? It's bad, isn't it?
It's not bad.
Okay, well, maybe not bad, but it's boring.
It's fine.
What was that? What did you change?
Just a typo.
I'm sorry. It's not ready. We can't do this.
Yes, we can. We've been working on this presentation for weeks.
What was that?
I don't...
What's going on?
An active shooter event is a situation in which an individual is actively engaged in killing or attempting to kill people in a confined, populated area. An active shooter typically uses firearms, but may use edge weapons, physical force, and/or explosives. Regrettably, active shooter incidents are continuing to increase in frequency. Select each object to learn more about active shooter events and the purpose of active shooter preparedness programs. An active shooter event can occur anywhere: residences, houses of worship, government facilities, workplaces, schools, and open spaces. Active shooters intend to kill randomly selected individuals. These events are unpredictable, evolve quickly, and end quickly. Active shooter events will typically end when law enforcement arrives on the scene. The purpose of active shooter preparedness programs is to help you acknowledge that you aren't always safe, recognize the warning signs that forecast danger, and think about how you will react in this type of extremely stressful situation, and then plan and prepare accordingly. Ultimately, active shooter preparedness programs should help you gain confidence in your ability to respond and teach you how to survive. Here is a practice exercise to test your knowledge. Which of the following are characteristics of an active shooter event? Select all the correct answers. When you're finished, select Check My Answer to see how you did.
Oh my God. Beth, what do we...
Come on, we gotta get out of here. Let's go. Sam! Come on, we gotta... Sam, you gotta come with us. Let's go. Let's go.
Miss.
Get out of here.
Go back. We gotta go. We gotta get out of here.
What do we do? Beth, we gotta... where do we go? We can't just stand here.
The conference room.
Situational awareness is paying attention to your surroundings so that you can detect and maybe even forecast dangerous situations. Being situationally aware will allow you time to plan your actions and act quickly when danger occurs. Select each object to learn how you can become aware of dangerous situations by observing suspicious objects, persons, and sounds. Be aware of objects that are unusual, out of place, or unattended, and report anything that is unusual enough to catch your attention. Be sure to consider the context of the item, but always err on the side of caution. Be aware of any peculiar actions of people you encounter. Is there a person in the area where they shouldn't be? Is someone questioning personnel beyond the level of mere curiosity about an event, facility, or operations? Report these unusual activities to a manager, supervisor, or others who can address the situation. Be aware of suspicious sounds that you cannot identify or that may be foreign to you. Don't ignore them. These sounds may be gunfire or may indicate other unusual dangers. Being aware of a potential threat leads to a quicker response. Call emergency services early to reduce emergency response time. Being aware of suspicious behaviors will help you identify possible threats. Inform your manager or supervisor of any potential for workplace violence due to direct knowledge of a threat or a reasonable suspicion that someone has an intent to do harm. Observable warning signs that may forecast a person's intent to do harm include sharing or liking alarming content on social media. This consists of content containing violence, weapons, mass shootings, bombings, extreme views, or hate for specific groups of people. Those who intend to do harm may have a fascination with weapons, violent events, or perpetrators of violence. They may present a noticeable decrease in attention to appearance and hygiene, demonstrate escalating or disproportionate anger, and exhibit aggressive, erratic stalking and/or harassing behaviors. People who intend to do harm may also demonstrate paranoia. In other words, they may feel like everyone is against them. Notice those you work with who have changes in personality, performance, and moods, who suffer from depression, and who communicate negative outlooks. Select the objects to learn another aspect of situational awareness, formulating a plan of action. Situational awareness involves not only being aware of your environment and potential dangers, but also preparing for a dangerous event. It's important that you consider response options in advance so that in a moment of need, you can quickly select your best course of action. Participating in active shooter training exercises and drills will help you think about potentially dangerous situations and not only formulate a plan of action, but also practice acting on it. An important part of preparing for a dangerous event is identifying 2 exits from any area of your workplace. You should also identify 2 exits from other locations you visit or where people gather. Part of formulating a plan of action is identifying exit signs and escape routes in your workplace or other locations you visit. These signs and routes are the paths that will take you away from danger to a place of safety. These routes may not be the entrances and exits you use on a daily basis. Escape and exit routes may pass through 1 or more doors or stairways to get outside. Become familiar with the evacuation routes posted in your facility and have an escape route and plan in mind. It is possible that your facility may have locked or blocked exits. These exits are a safety hazard that must be corrected. Exit doors should not be locked from the inside. Be aware of any locked or blocked exits. If you encounter one, correct it or ask a facility manager to do so. You can formulate a plan of action by identifying potential areas that will provide shelter. A shelter is any object or structure that is large enough to place a barrier between you and the threat. A shelter can offer a cover, provide physical protection, or provide concealment, which keeps you out of the attacker's view. Your facility's Emergency Action Plan, or EAP, contains active shooter response procedures. This plan provides the preferred method for reporting emergencies. It outlines emergency escape procedures and route assignments, that is, floor plans, safe areas, and specifies how emergency notifications will arrive for each location, that is, alarm systems or early warning systems. The plan will teach you how to communicate alerts to those who are most likely to be impacted and escalate those alerts as necessary. Emergency notification systems can notify those at remote locations within the premises, local law enforcement, and local area hospitals. Here is a practice exercise to test your knowledge. Select and drag the actions on the left that will possibly prevent or prepare you for an active shooter event to the image on the right.
Come on. Let's go. Shut the door.
There's no lock.
What?
Guys, we got...
Can't. What? No. We gotta borrow it. Grab a chair.
Oh,
Let's go.
put your phones on silent. Will that hold?
Anything you can use as a weapon.
Oh, yeah. This will work. Okay. Will this work?
He's coming.
Select the objects to learn the actions you should take if you are present during an active shooter event. It's critical that you identify where the shooting is occurring and the direction you should move in order to avoid it. Listen carefully when you hear the sound of gunshots, alarms, explosions, or people shouting and screaming. If you witness a shooting, identify potential areas of danger and avoid them. If you are present during an active shooter event, you will need to think and act quickly. However, it's also important that you remain calm, think about your options, and resist the urge to panic. You can help yourself remain calm by counting to 4 as you inhale and then counting to 5 as you exhale. Once you've identified where the danger is occurring, getting away from the attacker is your top priority. Quickly visualize possible escape routes, including routes for those with disabilities. Try to remember any training and drills you have participated in. Consider all options that will help you survive. When exits are blocked, stay hidden, aid others with disabilities, and call emergency services as soon as it is safe to do so. You may see that one or more of your coworkers are wounded. If you are in a safe location, you can assist those who are injured or bleeding with emergency first aid. The first way to stop bleeding is to apply pressure directly to the wound site. You can do this with clothing or any absorbing material. If you are unable to stop bleeding with direct pressure, you can apply a tourniquet if you have had the proper training to do so. An active shooter event is unpredictable, and your response will depend on your proximity to the attacker and your current location. You must quickly determine the most reasonable way to protect your own life, knowing that your coworkers, clients, and customers may follow your lead. In an active shooter event, you have 3 response options: escape from the area, evade or hide from the attacker, or if necessary, attack and defend. When you are in an active shooter situation, running provides your best chance for survival. If there is an available escape path, quickly take it. Running gets you away from the danger and makes you harder to hit with a weapon. Seconds matter, so do not stop or hesitate. Move in a direction away from the attacker that will remove you from the danger and keep you out of the direct line of fire. Recall the location of windows and emergency exits in the facility. Move in an unpredictable way and avoid moving in large groups. Aid others who may freeze with fear or denial. You can do this with just a few words like "follow me," "move," or "get out." However, you should continue to evacuate regardless of whether others agree to follow or do the same. You may witness coworkers who are headed toward the active shooter. Clearly communicate to them that they need to evacuate using a different route. When escaping, do not attempt to take anything with you. Leave all of your belongings behind. Do not use escalators and elevators when evacuating. If you see wounded people as you evacuate, do not attempt to move them. Only help the wounded if you are in a safe location. Emergency responders will take care of the wounded when they arrive on the scene. Do not stop running until you are sure you've reached a safe location. When you arrive, call emergency services and describe the attacker, the location of the attack, and the weapons the attacker is using. Select each image to learn the best methods for evading or hiding from an active shooter and how to identify safe places to hide. After reviewing the content, select the X to return and learn about the remaining images. If you are unable to evacuate from an area where an active shooter situation is occurring, you need to find ways to hide from the shooter. Stand behind any cover you can find while the attacker is firing shots. When the shooting stops, move to another location that is further away from the attacker. If you are in a hallway, go inside a room. There are 2 types of hiding places: cover and concealment. A cover is a protective barrier between you and the attacker. Good covers should offer protection from bullets. Concealment is a place you can hide that is out of the view of the attacker and others in the situation. While it is great to be out of sight, concealment may not provide physical protection from bullets. An ideal hiding place is one that is out of the active shooter's view and in a place where the attacker is less likely to find you. It should provide protection if shots are fired in your direction. If you are inside, a good hiding place would be inside an office with the door closed and locked. If you were outside, a good hiding place would be behind a brick wall, building, or large trees. The hiding place you select should not trap you or restrict your options for movement or escape. You can secure your hiding place by locking the door and building a barricade if the door opens inward. Barricade the door shut with anything that is immediately available to you. Be sure to close and lock windows, close blinds, and cover windows that don't have blinds. Turn off all the lights and remain quiet. Prevent unexpected noises by silencing your cell phone and/or pager and turning off any source of noise like radios or televisions. Keep your body low to the ground and in the corner of the room, preferably on the same wall as the entry door. Hide behind large items such as cabinets and desks and continue to look for other avenues of escape. Wherever you choose to hide, call emergency services as soon as it is safe to do so. If you fear the attacker will hear you, call them anyway, but do not speak. Leave the line open and allow the dispatcher to listen and identify your location. Remain in the hiding place until you are given an all clear by identifiable law enforcement officers. If you are unable to escape or evade an active shooter and you feel your life is in imminent danger, you can attempt to disrupt or disable the attacker. Take this action only if it is your last resort. Select each object to learn how to attempt to disrupt or disable an active shooter. Prior to initiating an attack on an active shooter, it's critical that you make a clear plan as how you will do it. Be sure to plan on being aggressive and fully committing to your actions. Gather objects that are easily accessible to you that you can throw at the attacker. Identify improvised weapons that are available to you, such as chairs, fire extinguishers, scissors, and books. Recruit others to help you in ambushing the attacker using makeshift weapons. Be prepared to cause severe or even fatal injury to the attacker. You can distract an active shooter by overwhelming their senses. Immediately target their eyes and nose. Strike their nose with an open palm or push a finger into their eye. Be prepared to cause pain by scratching or biting the attacker's hands or face. If you decide to disarm the attacker, grab the barrel of the firearm with your hands. Hold on tight and throw the full weight of your body to the ground. Don't let go, and keep the firearm barrel pointed away from yourself and others. After you have disarmed an attacker, you should always assume they are carrying another concealed weapon. You may be able to prevent the attacker from moving and causing further harm if others are able to help by laying or sitting on the attacker's outstretched arms and legs. Move the weapon or weapons out of the attacker's reach by kicking them out of the way, but do not pick up or handle them so that you are not mistaken by law enforcement as an attacker. Select the objects to learn what you can expect from law enforcement in an active shooter event. When law enforcement arrives on the scene of an active shooter situation, their main purpose is to stop the attacker as soon as possible. They will go directly to the area where the last shots were heard. They will not stop and help the injured, since emergency medical personnel will soon be on the scene to treat and remove injured victims. Law enforcement and/or emergency medical personnel may ask those who are able-bodied to assist in removing the wounded from the area. When law enforcement arrives, it is critical that you remain calm and follow instructions. If you have items in your hands, such as bags or jackets, slowly put the items down on the ground. Immediately raise your hands above your head and spread your fingers. Keeping your hands empty and visible at all times will ensure that law enforcement can easily identify the attacker. Never startle an officer by holding on to them. Avoid pointing, screaming, or yelling, since doing so may add confusion to the situation. When evacuating, do not ask officers for help or for directions. Exit the area by moving in the direction from which the officers are entering. Leave law enforcement alone so that they can focus on finding and incapacitating the attacker. Law enforcement officers, emergency services dispatchers, or medical personnel may ask you questions about the active shooter event. Be prepared to communicate the location of the attacker, your present location, the number of attackers, if more than one, and their physical descriptions. Take note of how many weapons the attackers have, if they have explosives, and if the shooting is still occurring. Also, note the number of potential victims at the location and whether law enforcement is on site. Once you reach a safe location or assembly point, law enforcement will want you to remain in that area until the situation is under control and all witnesses have been identified and questioned. Do not leave the safe location until law enforcement authorities have instructed you to do so. Select the Start button to answer some questions about appropriately responding to an active shooter event. You hear sounds that may be gunshots, followed by people screaming. What should you do? When you become aware of an active shooter event, what should you do? Which statement is true about evading or hiding from an attacker? When should you decide to attack or defend in an active shooter situation?